Namaskar, welcome back. This is the Daily Insight, little bits of inspiration and ideas for meditation and keeping up your level of awareness during the day. So, my topic for today is expanding your mantra in 3 directions. There's a beautiful image in yoga philosophy that our feeling of the divine presence should be like a cloud that grows and expands and gradually fills up the entire sky. Right? So as long as that cloud is just occupying a limited space, then we still have work to do to expand that until that cloud is total, occupying everywhere permanently. So to do that, basically, we have to expand the ideation, the meaning, the feeling, the experience of the mantra in 3 directions. Internally, externally, and past, present, and future, means in terms of time. So I'll use this image here to get a clear sense of the idea. So internally and externally, and in terms of continuance, present, past, and future. So that cloud has to fill up all the internal space, it has to fill up all the space around, and it doesn't have to be just for a moment, it needs to be permanent, right? So first question is, how do we do the internal? How do we fill up that internal space with the cloud of divine presence? There are a couple of ways. The first way is to remember that every possible thought I think or could think is God, right? And the mind itself is also God. First, the inner space. How can we fill up that inner space with a sense of divine presence? How can we get rid of that sense of separateness, that God is around me but not in me? So the first thing is to imagine that every thought I could possibly think is God. The second thing is to imagine that the body and the mind itself, which form this boundary between inside, right? My mind itself is divine. The body itself is divine. And another approach is to shrink down this circle until it's a point which has position but no mass. And that's what we do in meditation. And this is related to the idea that we were talking about yesterday, remove the umbrella. So if you think of this inside and outside, the sense of separate ego, separate self, separate body, separate mind, separate thoughts as the umbrella, then that effort that you make to shrink that umbrella down to one tiny little point is in practice helping you to remove that umbrella, right? And the third way is to constantly remind yourself, I am not the doer, right? So to get rid of that sense of I am the doer. I am not the doer. The divine is doing everything, right? You are the doer. All right, so that's the inside. Now, about filling up the space around you, filling up the entire universe with that cloud of grace, light, divine love. So the first way is to imagine that everything around me, every possible object or person I come into contact with is an expression of the divine consciousness. And the second way is to let go of any objects. So as the mind cannot hold on to 2 things at the same time. So if you're attached to various things, if you're thinking about objects, if you're thinking about people and problems and things like that, that keeps you in a limited space. It holds you small. So you have to let go of those. And when in meditation we imagine ourselves far, far away from this world, alone, in the vast emptiness of space. So that helps us let go of any small objects that keep us from expanding that feeling of blissfulness and divine love and presence. So, let go of all objects. Imagine that all objects that you come in contact with are an expression of the divine. And secondly, and lastly, push the boundaries, right? Imagine infinity, imagine absoluteness, totality. So go out and explore that space, push the boundaries as far as you can. Imagine hugeness, right? And then finally, if you do that internally and externally, that's fine, but can you remember that when you finished your meditation? Can you imagine that permanent, that experience or that expansion as a permanent state? So we can do that in terms of meditation and in mindfulness during the day. So in meditation, when you meditate, imagine that this cloud fills up not only space, but fills up time, right? It's present in the past, it's present now, it's present in the future, it's permanent, it's eternal, right? So you're meditating not only on infinite space, but also on eternal time. And the other way to do that is just to remember your mantra so that your memory becomes permanent. You never forget. You're always repeating the mantra no matter what you are doing. You have what is called dhruva smriti, or permanent memory. So that's the idea. Expand this cloud of the sense of divine presence in all three directions, in terms of time, in terms of space, and in terms of person, time, place, and person, right? So that was my message for today. I hope you find it clarifying and helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Namaskar.